Hello and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the vlog, welcome back to the car, welcome back to Cornwall, welcome back to the sun's out, summer's here, it's getting a little warm outside. We've had months since last October of rain and cold. Sometimes the sun came back for a couple of days and then others, it just was wet, just was very wet for a very long time. And I was like, maybe I should buy an immersion suit. Maybe I should just don my wetsuit on my way to work. That would just be better than trying to wear a raincoat and not get wet. But speaking of work, I had a problem a week and a half ago. I was driving home from work and I got into some stop-start traffic. The main arterial route through Cornwall, because it was a school half-term, we had a lot of tourist traffic. We always have tourist traffic when the schools are out, and this was no different. So the road, all the traffic stops because there is so much of it. You have to look in your rearview mirror and make sure the people behind you have in fact noticed. Sometimes you hit the hazards just to make sure that everyone is on board with the fact that we are stopping, and then we are going to be creeping forward at about 10 miles an hour. Very slowly, very slowly. So you do 10 miles an hour and then you stop for like a minute or two, and then you do another 10 miles an hour and stop for another minute or two. And that was the flow of traffic. And I looked behind me and there was a guy in a silver van, and he slowed and he stopped, and we were doing that for a little while until he drove into the back of the car. And I said some words to myself. They're not words I can say on YouTube. They're not even words I could say to my mother. But I said some words in the privacy of the cabin of my car because I was just shunted up the arse, and I was like, oh, no, this can't be happening. That's not, bugger. So I got out of the car, I pulled it over onto the side of the road, hit the hazards, made sure everything was safe. And then the guy, fortunately, he had pulled over as well, and he was like, mate, it's gonna be all right, it's gonna be all right. What? You just driven into me. That's not how this goes. It's not gonna be all right. So basically, just took some photographs of the side of the road, and I couldn't really see what was going on. I don't know if that road's still closed, so we'll go this way. I couldn't really see too much, and from the photographs you can't really see too much. What he'd done was stamped his number plate into the plastic bumper in the back of the car. He'd pushed the metal work, so there's a plastic bumper and then there's a metal bumper that goes underneath. And what he'd done is he pushed the metal bumper under the car slightly. So I was cleaning the car yesterday and all the panels around the back don't line up. If you open the boot, you can actually put your finger between the bumper and the bodywork, which is not something you should be able to do. And the boot lid, or the trunk lid, is a lot thinner than it was before. In fact, in the right light, you can see the outline of the boot lock through the metalwork, because like having a Kit Kat, when you run your thumb over the foil on the chocolate and you can get the Kit Kat logo through the foil, yeah, basically that's my locking mechanism through the metal of the car. And it's immediately in my mind going to be a pain in the ass, like an absolute pain in the butt, because now I have to take time off work, I need to get insurance to be on board with everything. The car's fully insured. I have full insurance, and the other guy has insurance as well, so that was a neat thing. I get home from work and immediately I go on to my insurer's website and register the fact that there's been an accident. I say this is the time, because the photographs had timestamps on them, so I could tell exactly when the car was hit. I told them the location, gave them a GPS location for the car. I gave the number plates of the cars involved. I said that this car has been hit. Immediately the other guy's insurance got involved and was like, hey, we'll deal with it, we'll put it all right. And I'm like, but we have the same insurance company. The names are the same. All right, I contacted my insurance company and they said, no, do it through us. We're a different team. We'll do all the stuff and then we'll get the money back from the other team. And I'm like, same company? And they're like, yeah, I know. All right. They did arrange for a hire car, and this will become pertinent later on. They did arrange for a hire car immediately, but I took half a day off of work to go and get the car assessed, because the insurance companies have specific locations where you can take your car to be repaired. Is he? All right, you can come through. We both stopped. I wasn't sure. Plenty of space. I was just not entirely sure who was going to stop first. They had right of way. So I took half a day off work. I went to the insurer's preferred repair centre, and the repair centre gave the car a once over and said, we're going to need parts. It's going to need a plastic bumper, metal bumper that goes underneath, bumper protection strip, and it's going to need probably a boot lid or the boot door, which raises some questions. If they just unbolt all the parts, because it's a Toyota, and Toyotas, apparently that part's not welded, you just unbolt everything and bolt everything back on, that's fine. And if they've got the colour of the car, because one careful owner, me, I've been the only person to ever own this vehicle, they'll know the colour of it. And someone at work was saying, well, yeah, they'll just take everything off, put it back on in about 4 hours. But when a car's outside, the colour of the paint changes. So I'm gonna be interested to see how drastically different the parts that they put on are versus the parts that are already there. Also, decals, all the stickers and things that go on the back, it's a Toyota, so they're plastic badges that are on the back of the car. Don't know if they're all going to be the same. I don't know if I'm going to take it and they're just going to make it exactly the same as it was before, or take it and make it okay. I don't know any of that. So that's a worry. Also, since taking it to the repair centre, I have found that I'm having to give a bit of right hand down. Mostly because once you get her over 50 miles an hour, she tends to lazily drift to the left. I'm thinking that might be a tracking issue. I'm hoping there's just a tracking issue and not being rammed in the arse so hard it's changed the alignment of the rear wheels. I don't think that's possible because they're on an axle. But we'll see. I'm going to slow down here and give this lad some space. Beep, 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 turn that off. So I've got to be careful when driving in the countryside. It's a unique experience. Yeah, everything seems okay, apart from that. Like, everything on the front end of the car seems okay, except for maybe the tracking. I gave her a clean yesterday, gave her a shampoo and everything, which is what I normally do. I love this car. Every week it gets washed, every other week it gets shampooed, waxed and everything, just because I have some pride in my vehicle. It's okay to have pride in your vehicle. It's okay to, I mean, it's how you are represented to the world. Anyway, I also had to buy a push bike. So it's taken a half day off work, plus a push bike, plus an hour off work as well. Because although my insurance company arranged for a hire car, and it was going to be a Kia, and I don't know the name, hang on a sec, we're okay, a Kia Exceed, or a Kia Exige, or I don't quite know the name of it. They said, well, we're going to get you something that's very similar to the car you already have, and I'm thinking, oh, a 2024 Toyota CHR, that would be an interesting vehicle to drive. No. Where is this guy going? I don't know. I'm going to get myself out of the situation though. That's the best thing for us. Yeah, 2024 Toyota CHR, that would be an interesting vehicle. to see what the updated CHR is like. No, a Kia manual. I mean, I have a manual license. I learned to drive a motorbike in college, and then Dad was like, I think you should also learn to drive a car. So I did. Stick shift license, not a problem. But after taking it to the repair centre and them saying, it's okay to drive, it's just dented in the arse. I phoned up and I said, look, let's not do that, because if you have a hire car, if you crash it, or if someone crashes into you, or there's a lot of things like you've got to have it fully topped up with fuel, you've got to have it, there's a lot of things. They don't want any marks and dents and scuffs and scrapes on it, and otherwise you end up paying for that. And I'm like, look, it's going to be simpler if we don't have that, because the guy at the repair centre said it's going to be a couple of weeks before we get parts. All right, cool. So instead of having a hire car, what I've done is I've ordered myself a folding bicycle, which I can pop in the back of the car, and if I need to take it to the repair centre, I can cycle home, or if the repair centre needs it for any longer than a day, then I can still commute to work. I can cycle to work. And I thought a folding bicycle is a good idea. A couple of $100 off Amazon, not a problem. I assembled it. It was all right. I've assembled push bikes before, so that's okay. But yesterday I did notice that the valve on the rear wheel was kind of at an angle. Deflated the rear wheel, deflated the rear tyre, moved everything, reinflated it, put 30 psi in there, and then the inner tube exploded. What? Why did the inner tube explode? Don't know. Well, I was going to go out and buy some car shampoo and stuff anyway. I drove to Halfords and I got a 20-inch inner tube. Here's a top tip. If you're buying yourself a folding bicycle, do not go less than 20 inches for the wheels. There are some that are 12 and 16 inches. Don't do that. It makes it super hard to ride. 20 inches feels like you're riding a BMX. If you want to know what that feels like, that's about it. So 20-inch wheels or above. I know you can get folding mountain bikes, but that seems a little too much. Anyway, yeah, so half a day off work so far, plus an hour to wait for the bike's delivery because they wouldn't leave it in a safe place and they wouldn't deliver to a neighbour. Didn't know that when I ordered it, but I needed it as soon as possible because, you know, you kind of need these things. That's an interesting Toyota. I wonder what that is. Interesting. It's a little baby one. We'll just let this guy through. And then move. You say guy to all the people, even if they're ladies. Yeah, I do. It's just what I do. Anyway, yes, so everything at the moment is in its waiting period. I do need to take the back wheel off of the push bike and change the inner tube. I'm going to check, make sure there is in fact tire tape or rim tape on it. Because you need to put rim tape around the inside of the rim where the spokes are all poking through to make sure they're not going to lacerate the rubber. I might even need to take the front wheel out and make sure that's okay if there isn't any rim tape on it. Not entirely sure about this one, old chum, or even know why it exploded. I'll find out later because I'll have to do that later because I need that thing ready to go just in case they phone up and say, get it in today, get the car in today. The guy who drove into the back of my car, what was his excuse for driving in there, even though he knew we were in stop-start traffic and he was stopping and starting? That, my friends, is the right question. His excuse was, I was looking at my feet. I was looking at my feet? How does that work? I don't think that's what he was doing somehow. I don't think that's what he was doing. I have a feeling that when the traffic stopped and went into its stop-start mode, as we were doing less than like 10 miles an hour and then stopping, I think he was probably reading messages on his mobile phone. I think that's what he was doing. And if you've got your mobile phone down next to your leg and you're looking down, you're not looking at the car that stopped in front of you, and you drive into them. But he's not going to admit that. He would never admit that, even if that was the truth, because that's illegal and then the cops would have to get involved. He just says, no, I was looking at my feet. He did admit it, that he was at fault to the insurance company, which means the insurance company is like, yeah, cool, we're just going to do everything for you, it's fine. Which is nice. I don't have to pay for a thing, and it's not going to affect my no claims bonus either. So no claims isn't intact. I'm not paying for anything, but I'm still out $200, still out. Going to be another at least half a day, maybe a whole day of holiday. It's not like a zero-sum thing getting the car repaired. Am I upset? Yeah, of course I'm upset. I love this car. I absolutely love this vehicle. This vehicle was the vehicle that got me off of a motorbike. This vehicle stopped me being on a motorbike. My choice was buy another motorbike or get a car. And the shortlist for cars were, well, interesting. I mean, the DeLorean was on it, but that would have been too expensive. The Toyota Serra was on it, which, God, that's a beautiful car. But it is a beautiful car from the 90s. And then I saw one of these in traffic, driving through traffic in Bristol, and I was like, I'm gonna go and have a look at one of these. And the Toyota dealership was very, very good, very friendly. Like the Toyota, I have had zero problems with Toyota. Toyota as a place has made me feel like they want me to be there. I did look at a Mini, at the Mini dealership, and the Mini dealership couldn't have cared less. They gave zero cares that I was about to spend money on a car with them and then have it serviced with them. They didn't care. Toyota is completely the opposite. They are very concerned that I am happy with everything that happens with the car, and they're very concerned that I know the car's situation and everything that's going on with it. And they're very concerned that I am, when I'm there, that I'm comfortable and take. Toyota are just like, I have nothing bad to say about Toyota. I genuinely don't. Yeah, that's where we are at the moment. I need to change the inner tube on the bike that I just bought. I'm physically fine. My neck's okay. My body's okay. It was like being punched from behind. It was like being punched from behind, but the chair is quite comfortable and it absorbed all of the energy. The airbags didn't go off. Interestingly, the airbags don't arm until you're going over 12 miles an hour. The airbags did not go off. That's one of my greatest worries, because there's an airbag here, 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 over there, down the side. This thing turns into a bouncy castle on the inside. It goes straight Demolition Man in terms of the inside turns into a giant marshmallow. There are side airbags, there are airbags there's airbags everywhere. And I'm kind of terrified to have those things go off in like tenths of a second. It is not something I ever want to experience. But other than that, yeah, the repair centre thinks they can just do it all. And obviously it's cheaper to repair the car than it is to write it off. It still runs, still rolls, it's still fine. When you get it too quick, then you do need to put a little right hand down. And now I own a push bike. Good. I'm going to leave it here for the time being. I think that's everything I mean, you guys are all caught up with everything. I'll leave it here for the time being. If you like these videos, definitely leave a little like, leave a subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. I mean, if you got to this point in the video, what are you not doing subscribing? If you want notifications, dingle the bingle. If you don't want notifications, don't click the bell. And I'll tell you what, I'll catch you next time.